Okay, so the prelims, we have, I think it's 8 fights, right? We got 8 fights on the prelims. Some interesting matchups, right? It's not full of big names like last week, but yeah, it's intriguing, you know? So everything starts with the ladies, right? We got two ladies fights on the card, I believe. And yeah, starts off with the strawweight. We have Shauna Bannon against Nicolle Caliari. Okay, dokie. So I'll take a look, right? Nicolle Caliari, she's 29, 5'3", 62-inch reach. She's 8-5 overall. Okay, in the UFC, she's 0-2. Fortunately, she came via the Contender Series. Okay, so she picked up that contract on the 10th of September 2024, right? Called Corinne Lafrabouse in the first round with an armbar. Impressive. Made her debut then. A few months later, 11th of January 2025, lost a split decision to Nesta Karakai. And then she got stopped in the third round, right? July last year by Charlie Giudice. And Giudice has been looking on fire. So, hey, no shame. Now, before coming to the UFC, she does, she did like a submission, right? Her, last 2 fights before the Contender, she got an armbar and then a rear naked choke, right? There's been like 4 stoppages. Her debut, she got a first round knockout. Then definitely in her fourth fight, right? The third fight just says win, so we don't know how. But in the fourth fight, another first round knockout. The fifth, it was second round ground and pound stoppage. Okay, so yeah, she's got those. Came up against Kay Hanston in Invicta fight. And that was when Kay was on a tear, right before she came to the UFC. So yeah, I think when you look at this, you might go, her best way to win could be the floor, right? Now, she is going up against Mama B, Shauna Bannon, who is 32, 5'5", 65-inch reach. So Bannon will have a 3-inch reach advantage, a 2-inch height advantage. She's 3 years the senior fighter as well. So overall, her pro record is 7-2. Right now, Bannon, she's 2-2 in the UFC. Right, she's coming into this one off the back of a win, so the confidence will be. Oh no, my bad. She's coming off of a loss. Gah. Going to be thinking, I need a win, right? I need a win. Now, Caliari is, because she's lost 2, she's like a third could be it, right? Shannon might have a little bit extra grace, but you don't want to be losing, right? So she's still going to be like, I need to win. So the last time we saw Bannon, right, was September last year. She got caught by Sam Hughes with a rear naked choke in the second round. Right now, she does have submissions. Right, she she won her the last fight. she won with a second round armbar, right? Got performance of the night. She threw that on Pooja Tumar. I will say, though, Tumar was winning that fight, right? She was going for ground and pound and just left her arm in. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a stupid mistake, right? But Tumar was winning that fight, which I thought was interesting. You know, she made her UFC debut, Bannon, on the 22nd of January 2023. She lost a decision to Bruna Brazil. Now, did come back, right, with a split decision win over Alice Ardelean, and then the Tumar fight, right? But then it was her last one didn't quite go her way. Now, Bannon, yeah, she did hold the Cage Legacy strawweight belt. Okay, and where else? She did also win a belt at the Senior and Junior World Cup. Not quite sure what that was. That was at Bantamweight, it looks like, too, though. So when you look at Bannon's record, she's been submitted a few times. She has got some submissions herself. Right? There is the odd, like she's got a few stoppages, but you know, a lot of her fights do go to distance. All of that, right? It's about having that gas tank. But yes, Caliari, she, you know, I think her submission game might definitely give her the edge in that component of the fight, right? I think that could be a thing. And I do think this might be Caliari's best opportunity. Rejig everything, because I think Sam Hughes controlled Bannon quite a bit, and as I said, Tumar was winning that fight, right? So with this one, I think, people, I'm gonna throw my hat with Nicolle Caliari for the win. We will see how that one goes. So we then jump to the flyweights. We have Daniel Barez against Luis Gurule. All right, so Luis Grim Gurule, he is 32, 5'5", 64-inch reach. Overall pro record of 10-3. Right, in the UFC, he is 0-3. Yeah. Came via the Contender Series. Okay, so he won that contract on the 15th of October 2024. He picked up a split decision win over Nick Piccanini. Okay, so made his debut 5th of April 2025. Got stopped in a second by Ode Osborne. Went to a decision with Jesus Aguilera, but yeah, with Aldon Correa in February this year, right? Just didn't go his way. So there is definitely going to be that urgency from Gurule, right? He knows he can't have a fourth loss, right? Can't have a fourth loss. The only can have, you know, that kind of streak because they're entertaining. They've got a huge fan base. They, you know what I mean? They turn up to fight, right? But yeah, if you're, you know, a prelim fighter, right, and you don't really have a big recognizable name, a fourth loss is pretty much it. Much it, you know what I mean? So yes, he will want to do that. Now you can look at Gurule. There's been some like early, like his first 5 fights, he picked up finishes. Right, the first 3 were first round, then the second, and then the third round. So, but as the competition gets harder, he's fighting more in fury, and we're getting more decisions, which, that's fair. That's fair. The last fight before the Contender Series, he got a 4th round arm triangle against Jacob Silva. But yeah, he's not a artist, right? He's not like a submission whiz. He's just, he's rounded, let's say. Now, Daniel Barez, he's 37, 5'6", 66-inch reach, 17-7 record. Okie dokie. He is 1-2 in the UFC. Fought on the Contender, but didn't go his way. Okay, so yes, his Contender Series fight was against Carlos Hernandez back in October 2021. Lost but went back to the Reach and pulled off 4 wins, right? 4 wins. I think all first round finishes, right? 3 knockouts, 1 submission. So then that gets him to the UFC. And the crazy thing is, right, his submission he got in those 4 wins was an arm triangle. And he got caught by an arm triangle in his UFC debut from Jafel Filo, right? In the first round. That was 22nd of July, 2023. So he was able to right the ship with a unanimous decision over Victor Altamirano. That was September 2024. But then last year, in March, Andre Lima caught him with a rear naked in the 3rd round. So, yeah, I mean, this is both fighters, right? Both fighters, like the last one, they both need wins. They both need wins. I think Barez might just have the edge. But yeah, it's a bit of a pick on that one. Okay, so we are back, ladies. And the strawweight, right? We have Alice Ardelean against Polyana Vieira. Right? So Polyana Dama de Vieira, right? She is 33, 5'5", 67-inch reach. Overall record 13-8. Okay. She's 4-7 in the UFC. Yeah, on a 3-fight skid at the moment. There is a lot of fighters trying to right the ship this time out, right, on this card, which is, we last saw right, she fought on the 26th of April, 2025, got caught in the 2nd round with a rear naked from Jacqueline Amorium. Okay, so yes, that's what happened that night. her UFC debut came on the 3rd of February 2018, right? She caught Maya Kuchanal with a rear naked in the first round, right? Great debut. She then lost a decision to JJ Aldridge. Hannah Cyphers won a split over her. And Veronica Hardy caught her with a armbar in the first. Turned it around against Emily Whitmore, right? She got an armbar, and then she repeated the feat against Mallory Martin, right? Tabitha Ritchie beat her with a decision. She stopped Jin Fei in the first round. Jin Fei, former Invicta champion, right? And then, her current skid, right, is Min Lucindo, caught of Roman Triangle, Gillian Robinson, ground and pound, and then Jacqueline with the rear naked last time out. All right, so she fought in Jungle Fight, right? Has a win over Amanda Ribas, right? And she fought Ribas for the vacant Jungle Fight strawweight belt, right? So that's a great win. Yeah, defended the belt. That's before she has one other regional, and then she came to the UFC. So, she's got submissions. Right? You feel that maybe more of a submission fighter than knockouts, right? It's a couple of stoppages, but yeah, it's mainly submissions. So she steps in against Alice Ardelean, 34, 5'3", 62-inch reach. Overall pro record 11-7. Okay, so in the UFC, she's 2-2, and she's on a 2-fight win streak right now. So we last saw her 1st of November 2025. She got a decision over Montserrat Cunjo Ruiz in act. And before that, right, she beat Ariana Dos Santos. Got fight of the night for that one. So 2025 was a good year for her. Right, made her debut against Shauna Bannon, as we mentioned earlier. And then lost to Melissa Martins before being able to turn it around, right? So when you look outside the UFC, she won a couple of belts, right? She won one with EFC, picked up their vacant strawweight belt. And there was UFT, right? Picked up their vacant belt with wins. Also, she won with RXF, right? Their flyweight belt, right? So, she's got like those. She's done. Looks like she did a tournament with EFC as well. Fought Wiley Young, right, back in 2016. Got caught with a rear naked there. You know what I mean? There is she fought Diana Babija, right, another UFC fighter, back in the regionals, right, in 2014. yeah, like, look, neither have got like, have had like an incredible track record or anything like this. But I will probably say Alice, coming off the back of a couple of wins, right? Polyana, she knows she needs to win. She's gonna be, you'd think she's gonna be trying to bring everything she has, but that can also lead to mistakes. And I think if she does open herself up, Alice could pick up a sub, right? So yeah, I'm going Alice Ardelean for the win. So we then jump to the middleweights, right? We have got Cody Brundage against Andre Petroski. Okay, so Cody Brundage, he's 31, 6 foot, 72-inch reach. Overall record 11-9-1 with one no contest. He is 5'8", 1-1 in the UFC. Okay, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak right now. So So with Brundage, right, he fought on the Contender Series, got stopped by William Knight in September 2020. He was going to be coming back, right? But took a late notice fight in the UFC and lost decision to Nick Maximov. Okay, but his next fight got Dolce Lombouye with a guillotine in the first, and then stopped Trayson Gore in the first round, right, in July 2022. But he runs up against Michael Ulajicek, Rodolfo Vieira, and Sadiq Dumas, two of which were stoppages. So things were like, turns it around, right? Beat, well, okay, yes. Jacob Malcon hit him with a legal knee, so Brundage won that. He stopped Zach Reese. I think that was with a slam, if I remember correctly. And that was on a night where there was back-to-back slam wins, which was crazy. He then has the fight with Bo Nicolle, right, at UFC 300, loses that. There's a no contest with Abdul Razak Alhassan, which was a dubious one, that one. He does pick up a good win over Julian Marquez. There's a draw with Monsar Abdul Malik, which, again, very dubious situation, that one, right? And then he hit the current situation, right? He lost a split decision to Eric McCornackey. Cam Ralston stopped him in the second, and then there's a split loss to Dante Johnson. So Brundage, man, he needs a win, right? Brundage definitely needs one. Now, his opposition, Andre Petroski, 34, 6 foot, 73-inch reach, overall 13-5. The UFC, he is 8-4. He is, though, coming off a couple of losses, right? Okay, so yeah, they've got a shared opponent, Cam Ralston, right? And Ralston had both of their numbers. Ralston got a first round stoppage in September last year. Before that, in July, he lost the decision to Edmund Shabazian, right? Now, Petroski, he does have a win over Rodolphe Vieira. Won a decision. I think, if I remember correctly, that fight, the just wasn't. That one was crazily throwing. It was a weird fight. Now, he made his UFC debut. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. I forgot he was on the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. Was on the Ultimate Fighter. The Brian Battle season. And lost a battle, actually. In the semis, I think it was. Right, so then he made his UFC proper debut. August 2021, got a second round stoppage over Michael Gilmore. Okay. He then, third round stoppage over Hu Yazong. Right. Picks up a win over Nick Maximoff. Another shared opponent. Right. And then he gets a win over Wellington Truman. So he's doing all right. Picks up a split over Jared Morshaw. Right. But then Michel Vieira stops him in the first. And Jacob Malquan stops him in the second. Picked up a decision over Josh Friend. And Dylan Budka, right, Rodolphe Vieira, but then it's just the two current losses. So I think with Petroski, he's one of them fighters where you think there is something, there is potential, but he oftentimes does not throw a lot, can gas out, right? And gas out. So this is it's kind of a fight. It's a well put together fight, right? Because I think they're very similar. I do think they're very similar. I think I might go Petroski, but it is a toss-em, really. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I think neither necessarily blow me away. Right? It's not where you go, oh man, this person's such an advantage and his style is so great. Like they can both be very underwhelming at times. But yeah, so we're gonna go Petroski. So we jump to the ladies once more. We have the bantamweights. Ketlen Vieira against Jacqueline Cavalcanti. So Jacqueline Cavalcanti, she is 28, 5'8", 70-inch reach. Overall record, 10-1. Alright, right? She's on an 8-fight win streak right now. 5-0 in the UFC. Not bad at all. You know what I mean? She picked up a couple of belts. Okay, so she got SCC, right? Got their bantamweight, won their vacant bantamweight title, right, back in November 2022. And then April 23, she beat Melissa Crondon, right? They were the headline fight for the vacant LFA Bantamweight Championship. Yeah, so she won that one. And yeah, from that got called up, right? Called up to the UFC. 2nd of September 2023. She beats Zara Farin via decision. Gets a split over Jocelyn Nunez. Another split over Nora Coronel. A decision over Julia Avila. Another unanimous over Mayra Bruna Silva. And that was the last fight, right? In November last year. So, not knockout power, anything like that, but she does put things together nicely. You know, likes to work behind the jab. You know what I mean? Fire out some kicks, just all of this. But, you know, if I remember correctly, a very tight defense and just good fundamentals, right? Nice fundamentals, right? That's what she works behind and does a decent job with it. So, she is going up against Ketlen. Oh, how do we say this? Fenomeno Vieira. Okay, so Vieira's 34, 5'8", 68-inch reach. She is 15-5 overall. Right, 9-5 in the UFC, coming in off of a loss. Right, so yeah, let's take a look. Vieira, she made her UFC debut 1st of October 2016. Right, picks up a split decision over Kelly Fazholz. She then picks up a unanimous over Ashley Evans-Smith. Catches Sarah McMahon with an arm triangle. Right? Gets a split over Kat Zingano. So those two very good wins. Right? Irene Aldana stops her. Oh, I mean, it was a blistering left. Right? Oh my gosh. She turns things around, gets a unanimous win over Sigara Eubanks, loses a decision to Yana Santos. Right, Misha beats her to a unanimous. Right, Holly Holm gets a split over her. She loses a split. Oh no, she beat Misha Tate and Holly Holm. I just completely misread those two. She loses a split to Raquel Pennington. Beats Pani Kinzad. Right, Kayla Harrison gets the win over her. She beat Macy Chazon. That was just, I mean, that was a very underwhelming fight, right? But missed weight again for that one. And last time out, she lost a split to Norma Dumont. I didn't think it was a split. That was a weird one, right? Yeah, but it is what it is, right? So that is it. Now, Vieira, she's a bit like Petroski, you know? Oftentimes, like, you look at her and you think that there is this potential there, but she oftentimes just not really do a lot, right? Doesn't necessarily change gears in a fight, right? And she can get caught. You know, when things aren't going well, then it's just like, and just not being able to pivot with the new circumstances. I think on a day she could win this. You know, she's strong, she's big, you know. And especially Cavalcanti, right? She's very light on her feet, but you know, if Vieira could cut off the cage, right, could smother her. But yeah, we haven't seen that kind of game out of Vieira in a good ass while. So I think with this one, I'm gonna be like, Cavalcanti, right? Use her jab, you know, keep it at range, move, jab, move. Canti will do and can get her the victory. So we then jump to the lightweights, right? And yes, we've got two debuting fighters here, you know? Just things dropped out and everything, and it ended up here. So we've got Thomas Gantt against Artur Minev, right? So Artur Headhunter Minev, he is, we do not have an age. We do not have a reach. We just know he's 5'9". Okay. Right. He's 7-0 in his pro career. He's on a 10-fight win streak. Yeah. Amateurs and all of that. So he's fought his last 4 fights have been with Fury. And what? 3 of those have been first round stoppages. 1 went to distance. So, yeah, it was a 5-round fight. It wasn't for a belt though. Okay, yeah. Anyway, you know, Fury, good, very good regional promotion. So they've good wins, man. You know, very good wins. So out of his pro fight, right, he's got a couple of submissions, a guillotine and a rear naked, and the rest of, well, other than one, are first round knockouts, right? So yeah, that's him. There's not a lot kind of go by. Now his opponent, Thomas Gantt, he's 33, 5'11", 76-inch reach, right? So yeah, we don't know if he's got a reach advantage. We do know that Thomas is 2 inches taller, right? His overall pro record is 11-0 with 1 no contest. He's currently on a 16-fight win streak. Now, he is coming via the Contender Series, right? He won that contract 16th of September last year, right? Stops Adam Livingston first round with a guillotine. Now, when you look at the 4 fights before the Contender, all finishes, right? There's 1 guillotine and 3 knockouts. A 3rd round, 2nd round, and 1st. Also, he picked up the North Iowa Fights vacant welterweight belt. Right, stopped Josh Henry in the 3rd round for that one. He also picked up the New Line welterweight. Right, that one's back in 2014. So looking at the career, he's had a guillotine, a Darce choke, right? Not a heap of subs, but yeah, I think he does. The guillotine is the one he's picked up the most. There's 3 guillotines in his pro, 1 in the amateurs. There are a good few stoppages, right? So it does look like he is well rounded, and yeah, like his fights on the regional haven't necessarily been maybe the same level as Artur's, but you know, showing out on the Contender Series is always a good look, you know. Both debuting, right? So both, you know what I mean, just want to really show and prove, show that, you know what I mean, this is where they deserve to be. I think this is going to be a fun fight. I'm going to take Gantt, I believe, here. Right, so which takes us to our main fight in the prelims. We have got the light heavyweights. You know, so we got Tuco Tucas against Ivan Erslan. So, yeah, Ivan Erslan, right? He's 34, 6'2", 72.5-inch reach. 14-6 with 1 no contest. Okay, fights out of American top team Zagreb. He is 0-3 in the UFC. Right? On a 3-fight losing skid. He definitely needs a win. So, man, the last fight he had before coming to UFC was in KSW. Good promotion, right? He stops Bogdan Grinko in the first round, right? So then he gets the call up, right? Gets the call up for the UFC. Made his debut 28th of September 2024. Lost the split decision to Ion Cutelabra. He then fights Navajo Sterling on the 10th of May last year. Loses a unanimous decision there. And Jimmy Crute hits him with a rear naked choke in the first round, September last year. So yes, he's had better times, right? Erslan has had better times. Yeah, like, you know, looking earlier at the career, there's been some stoppages. We've had one submission. He's got one submission, so I wouldn't say that is a strong part of the game. Which could be a problem, right? That could be a problem because he's going up against Tuco Tucas, who is 35, 6 foot, 76-inch reach, right? So, yeah, they're pretty similar. Has a 3.5-inch reach advantage, and I think he is 2 inches in height. Okay, so overall record 11-5. In the UFC's 1-2. So things weren't looking great, right? Things weren't looking great. Made his debut 18th of May 2024. Got caught by Omar Sy in the first round with a rear naked. He then loses a decision to a opponent they both know, Navajo Sterling. That was December 2024. So yeah, on a bit of a skid, but turned it around with a second round stoppage of Junior Taffa, hit him with an arm triangle. Right, that was July last year. And yeah, he was, oh my God, he was elated to get that one for sure. Right? Now, he does like the ground. You know? He definitely, that is the big thing between them, right? He's had arm triangles, darces. Yeah, I think they're the subs of choice. And you could see him going for multiple things against Taffa. Now, I think at times, right, it was rushing, That's been his problem, rushing these attempts on the ground, right? So then losing position and things like that. But this is the big thing, right? We've got Erslan, who's not necessarily a ground fighter, right? Has been submitted a few times, and Tucos, who does like a submission, right? Doesn't always get them, but does like a submission. So I think he's going to look at this. His team will look at this. They should do and go, okay, Erslan, issues on the ground. That's where we want to be, right? That's where we want to be. And I think that might be the telling thing with this fight, right? I can envision Tucos hunting for that takedown and, looking to lock it up for the win. So, people, I am going to take Tucos, Tucos for the victory. And hopefully it's a good fight, right? Hopefully it's back and forth, right? Because it will take us to our main card.